What's up YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I am making a video about the sun in the 10th house. This is a sick placement and I know it's a sick placement because I actually have it. So I've taken the time to brainstorm what I think about the sun in the 10th house and how it works. Though I do recommend listening to lots of different people talk about it because basically I think when it comes to studying your chart and learning about yourself via astrology, there's just never too much listening and reading that you can do. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's ever too much listening and reading you can do. And I think the more reading and listening you do, the more of a comprehensive sort of outlook you can get. You're going to resonate with some things and not others. So considering I have this placement, I'm adding my little bit to the web. So here we go, man. Sun in the 10th house. I'm trying to find my notes. How did I not find this? Anyway. Okay, so sun in the 10th house. So first off, let's look at the energy of the 10th house and let's look at the energy of the sun and get to know those, and then we can kind of like look at it as a whole picture. So the 10th house is the natural house of Capricorn, okay? And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn on so many levels, on a double level in terms of it's ruled by Saturn in general astrology and then it's ruled by Saturn in the esoteric astrology as well. So the 10th house is about your career. It's not your job, like your actual career, that thing, that goal, that literal thing that you've got to put so much work and effort into. You know, you can go to a job and you can just turn up and you can clock in and you can clock out and go home and forget about it. This is career. Do you know what I mean? This is like what you're striving for. If you've got the sun in the 10th house, career is going to be somewhat important to you, but we'll get to that in a bit. It's about your public image, how people see you. Yeah, so planets in that house and the sign on the cusp of that house will sort of show a little bit about how people see you, how you present yourself to the public. Yeah, it's the house of fame because, well, I believe it's because it's the highest point in the chart, so it's literally that point that everybody can see. It's to do with your reputation, so again your public image, how you're perceived, reputation, the legacy that you leave, the print, the mark that you have on the surface of this earth. It's to do with your accomplishments, but not only your accomplishments, but your aspirations as well, because before you accomplish, you have to aspire. Do you know what I mean? So it's your accomplishments and your aspirations, your goals. You know, if you've got sun in the 10th house, you're probably going to be somebody who's very goal oriented. But again, we'll get to that in a bit. Your long-term achievements, you know, Saturn's about long-term goals, hard work, working over time. Oh, why am I getting so excited about this? I love this placement, that's why. Your contribution to society and your, I want to say your stature or the authority that you potentially can have. So that is the 10th house and what the 10th house is about. Now the sun is energetic force. Do you know what I mean? The sun is the center of this thing that we're, the center of our solar system. Let's just say that. What am I talking about? The center of this thing. You know the sun is a large energetic force that provides a lot of energy. So naturally, wherever the sun is in your chart, in our case, if you're watching this video, then it's probably going to be in the 10th house unless you're watching it to learn about somebody else. But a lot of energy is placed into this area, right? Because it is life force almost, you know, it helps everything grow, it nurtures, also burns, but it nurtures, right? So the sun is an energetic force, there's a lot of energy to it. It represents almost like our willpower, yeah? So it's where we will. It's where we will. That's it. It's as simply as that. It's where we will. It represents your ego and your identity. So you might identify greatly with the 10th house, i.e., just for example, you might identify greatly with your accomplishments because the 10th house is about accomplishments. You might identify greatly with your goals, okay? I'm going to get more into that, but it's about your identification and it will show you how you see yourself. Wherever the sun is in the chart is where we'll find joy. It's what we're learning to become, so we will eventually become if we work at it, you know, where the sort of house the sun is in. The sun represents our courage, yeah, so it shows where we'll be courageous. So it represents our self-esteem, so, you know, it shows you where you'll get your sense of self-esteem from. Again, your identity and your ego and stuff like that. It's where you'll be creative. It's where you'll place a lot of energy, and it's central to our being. So 10th house is likely to be central to your being. But yeah, so that is the 10th house and that was the sun. So now let's look at them together, all right? Now, I could probably talk about this for hours. So, you know, bear with me, all right? The first thing that I've written here is that you might not realize it yet, right? But your career is likely to be your passion. Now remember, guys, when I'm talking your chart, your whole chart is important. It's not just this placement, but just typically talking about the sun in the 10th house and looking at that solely, your career is your passion. All right, you want to achieve your career goals, and that is the number one thing for you. And you might not realize this as, when you're young, or you might. Okay, for me, I definitely realised how career driven I was at a later age in life, but I can look back and see where that was actually showing at earlier phases of life as well. But I wouldn't have necessarily said I was career focused at a younger age, but perhaps I was. It's just that I think that again, the 10th house is about maturity and time. And then, so, you know, for that sun to start really coming through in that area of life, you do have to go through time. And you do have to go through challenges. This is Saturn's house, you know, so it takes development. So I've definitely noticed that my career is my passion at a later phase of life, but you might have seen inklings of it throughout your life. You know, you might have known when you was 5-year-old you want to go university, or you might have, you know, always felt like you had something to do, that you had a big goal, but you just didn't know what that was, but you might have felt it from a very young age, right? So that's the first thing. Your passion is your career. And if you don't know that, with the sun in the 10th house, it's something that you might discover down the line. And if you're stuck with knowing what it is that you want to do for a career, when you figure that out, you might find that that becomes your passion. You know, whereas sun in the 4th house, your passion might be being a mother, it might be being a nurturer. Sun in the 6th house, your passion might be the service that you provide to people. It might be your health and you know, all of that kind of stuff. So with it in the 10th house, your passion is going to be your career. It is that thing that you will. Second thing I've written down is that your public image is important to you, and it is definitely important to me. I'm not entirely sure about everybody else out there, but your public image is important to you. And you know, that means that, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you want the same public image as I, or he wants the same public image as she, or they want the same public image as them. But basically, your public image is important to you. Now, it depends on what sign your sun is in and what sign is on the cusp of the 10th house and what other planets are in there as to how you feel you want to give yourself. You know, for example, mine is Gemini on the cusp of my 10th house. And I also have Mercury in my 10th house, so I've got a lot of Gemini sort of influence, and I do want to be known as the person that can talk and can communicate and knows a lot about a lot of different things. That is how I try and represent myself to the public. It's not even how I try and represent myself to the public, it's who I am, but that's the part of me that the public gets to see. That's what I want to be known for. That's what I want to be recognised for. Of course, I have other shit going on in my life, you know, but it's not what I care about displaying so much. But you will see aspects of it. If you've got a fire sign on the cusp of your 10th house, you might want to be seen as a go-getter. Yeah, if you've got Aquarius on the cusp of your 10th house, you might want to be seen as the humanitarian. Or if your sun's in Aquarius in the 10th house, then you might want to be seen as the humanitarian. It changes government systems and, you know, loves everybody and wants to make change to the world, which, you know, is frigging cool, man. However you want to be seen, that's important to you, that you are seen in that light, that you are recognised for that. Yeah, so your public image is very important to you, and you'll probably think about how you display yourself on social media and all of that jazz, because you want to be seen in your best light. You know, you want to be seen in your best light and as that person who you really feel that you are, and you want to be seen for what it is you feel you have to give. Remember, the sun gives out energy, right? And so it's about what you want to give to the world, and you want to be seen as the person that gives that to the world, right? It's important to you. So public image is important with the sun in the 10th house. Third thing I've written, you are recognizable. Like, I don't even know why, but people see you. You know, like, you might go into a shop and people are just going to remember you straight away. They'll be like, oh, you came in yesterday. Oh, I saw you in the park like 10 years. You know, just things like that are going to happen for you. People are going to remember you. People are going to recognize you. You're going to be seen in public, and people are going to be like, they're going to say something about the way you are. For example, the reason I'm probably recognisable is because I'm mixed race and I grew up in a white town. I find myself in populations where there aren't many people like me around. So that makes me instantly recognisable. And I always have some... Dude, my camera just went off. I ran out of memory. We're back. I always have some crazy hair, shaved sides, and something big on the top. So it is easy to recognise me, but you will probably find that you're recognisable, and people seem to know who you are for no real reason. So that's the third thing, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? You are likely to want to be in front of the public, be in front of large crowds, be in front of large audiences, or be known in your small community, but you're happy to be the central point of that. So whether you want to talk to the masses or you want to talk to 10 people, you want to be the one delivering, if you know what I mean. You're happy to perform, you're happy to take your place on the stage and say what it is that you need to say. You might be great at public speaking, again, depending. Mercury's always near the sun, so you might have the sun in Mercury in the 10th house as well. But you should be quite happy doing whatever it is with the eyes on you. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean you love speaking. I love speaking, but it doesn't necessarily mean you love that. But whatever it is that however you like to perform, however you like to be in front of people, you are okay with them eyes watching you in that sense. Yeah, so you're happy to be in front of the public in some sort of way. You may be great at leading a business, having your own business. You will do what you're told to do because you have the intelligence of Saturn somewhere along the line. You don't necessarily like being told what to do. You can go to a job, and especially as you get older, you can learn that submission, but you know deep down that you are your own boss. You're capable of being your own boss. You're capable of leading a team. You might not always be in those positions, but you might always have ideas about how you can make this situation that you're in run better. You might notice the leaders and be like, they're not leading this team correctly. You know, or you might notice that, you might think about how you would do it better. You might walk into a business, into a cafe and be like, I would do this like this. And then, you might just have a natural business mind. And again, that can develop over time. It might not be something that you have as a child. It's something that you might learn along the way in your journey. Yeah, but you'll be great at leading the business, great in leadership positions. It's not like Mars in the 10th house. You're not necessarily going to be put into those straight away, but you know that you're more than capable of doing it. And if you did do it, you'd be great at doing it. Yeah, so you'd be great at leading if you're put in that position. Yeah, but the sun's not as forceful as Mars. So you don't necessarily go and fight for that position. You just might be a little bit more, people can tell you can lead, but it might take a little bit more time for them to get you there. You identify strongly with your career. That is what you want in life. You identify with your goals and your achievements and your success. So, I mean, I don't know how much more to say than that, but you identify with that. That's who you want to be. That's what you want to be known for. That's really the primary thing in your life. If you're very connected to the sun in the 10th house, yeah? I do think you can be in any particular house at any time, and sometimes more deeply involved in a particular house because you're learning those lessons, and then you end up moving around your chart, okay? So at some point in your life, that could be you. Fame could be desired. You're totally happy to be in the public eye. You're totally happy to have it, yeah? And you might even really, really want it. You might even be born with it. You might be born into the public eye, or you might achieve it later on in life. Saturn, hard work, later on in life generally, but you can be born into that position. Doesn't mean everyone's got to work for it, yeah, but you got to work for something. They might be born into it, but then they have to work for their public image because that's important to them, and they're actually being seen as different to how they want to be seen, or portrayed as different to how they want to be seen. There's some sort of work that you've got to do within the public, within the public image, within your goal, within your aspirations, you know what I mean? So you are very happy when you get recognized for your career, your goals, for achieving your goals, for your ambitions, for being that person that you want to be. And when you're not recognised for it, you're not so happy. But this is one of our life lessons, yeah? Because remember, the sun is linked to our ego, and so we do want that recognition. However, life is probably going to try and teach you how to not desire recognition. I've definitely been through that. What I say about the sun is that the sun sits at the centre of the solar system every day, and everything goes around it, and it warms up the earth, and it nourishes the food, and we don't really think about the sun. We don't really think about how much the sun gives to us, you know what I mean? It's probably the thing we think about the least in terms of what it gives, but we desire it the most. We're all waiting for summer, but we don't thank the sun every day for providing heat for us. We don't thank the sun every day for nurturing our crops. but it does do it without fail. It shows up every damn morning and it does the work, even without us clapping and saying, I love you, sun. We just bask in its energy in the summer, cry about it in the winter. Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so we need to be that sun, basically. We need to learn to be that sun, because if we try and be bigger and bolder, you know, to shine, we're just going to burn everything around us. So that's the lesson of the sun in some senses. Learn to be the sun that doesn't need the recognition. I believe you want to be the best. Yeah, you totally want to be the best, especially in the career. You want to be the best. You want to win. If you're going for a promotion, you want to get it, and you want to be the goddamn best at what you do. And that is not because you're competitive. This is not like Mars energy. You don't just want to be number one because you want to be number one. You don't want to just beat people. It's because you value this. It's because it's linked to your ego. It's because it's linked to your self-worth. And so when you are seen as the best, it validates yourself. It kind of allows you to feel like you found your purpose, and that is your purpose in life. And it's not competitive that you have to be better than someone else. You'll know what I mean if you know what I mean. You're not actually like forcefully competitive. You're not about to strike other people down like the Mars energy wants to be the first and it will fight anything to get in the way. The sun's energy is competitive, and it wants to be the best simply because it wants to feel worthy in itself. But your ego will be tested. Your ego will be tested because the sun is in Saturn's house, and the Saturn is a tester. Saturn's like, no, mate, I won't have that ego in here. People who don't have a career aspirations, you just don't understand. You're like, huh? But everyone has their sun in a different place, so just remember that. And finally, the final thing, you will not just settle. You will not be okay with mediocre. You will not be all right with just going to your job every day. You will not be okay with that. You have drive, you have ambition, and you have passion when it comes to your career, and you will. This is where the will is, in the 10th house, and you will. And even if you don't attain the amount of success you want, you will be taking the steps every day, because to you there is no other option. The sun turns up every day. There is no other option than to shine down on the earth. It can't just jump out of the middle of the solar system and piss off to another galaxy somewhere. You will turn up, even if you're struggling and you're like, nah, and you have those moments where your ego is being beaten by Saturn, and Saturn's there like whipping your ego, and you feel like giving up. You just won't. You know what I mean? You don't know any other way than to keep on stepping, even if at times it is slow, even if at times there are spells in which you feel like you are in the cold. You're in Saturn's house, you are in the cold, but you will keep going, and hopefully life rewards you. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't, but hopefully you get to achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. I'm saying that because I know what it feels like. So hopefully I achieve all the goals that I want to achieve. Hopefully you achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. If you're watching this video for somebody else, hopefully they achieve all the goals that they want to achieve. And if you are watching this video for somebody else and you want to make them happy, tell them how great they are at something that they do. Tell them how great they are at their career. Tell them to keep going, keep pushing. Do you know what I mean? If they got something and they're feeling like, I didn't feel like that was good enough, you just keep practicing. You just keep practicing. Practice makes better. Do you know what I mean? You got this. You put the work in. Eventually, guys, you may become famous. You may be a leader of something, of whatever, a small community, a large community, the place in which you work in. You may have your own business. You could be a business mentor. You might be a public speaker or a motivational speaker. You might be somebody that can tell people how to achieve their goals, how to reach this level of success that you reached. You could be a teacher. You'll have your center stage. You're talking to the pupils and they're looking at you. Their eyes are on you, their ears are on you, and you're giving to a group or an individual. You know what I mean? Or a lot of individuals or a few individuals, but you can be that central thing. You might be the CEO of a company. You might get to the top of a company. You might own a company. You could be an actor or actress, or you could be a creator. You could be in the arts. This place. Some form of eyes are going to fall on you. Keep progressing. Keep getting better. Keep going, and keep going with detachment. Yeah. Work at your career, but don't be obsessed with the actual achievements, because you know what? There is no perfect. in the practice, but the path won't be forgotten. And what I mean by that is it's not all about what you achieve at the end. It's not the end goal that's so important. It's what you learn in the process that is the profit. That's the profit. You know what I mean? With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment below if you did. Hit that like button if you was digging it, if you was feeling it, if you was like, that is me. Do you know what I mean? Listen to other astrologers too talk about it, because yeah, get a very, very large comprehensive viewpoint of it, and then be like, I resonate with that, I don't resonate with that, I resonate with that, I don't resonate with that. If you don't resonate with any of it, you might be somewhere else in your damn chart, so you might want to take a look over there. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. I appreciate your time on my channel.